That, ladies and gentlemen, is the future. He is the present and he is the future, and he might be the greatest talent that we've ever seen in the UFC.
From hinting at retirement after defeating Stipe Miocic at the Madison Square Garden to demanding a fight against Francis Ngannou to stay in the UFC, here's why Jon Jones' retirement fight could be just around the corner. I have to start with him hinting at retirement from MMA though, because this is something everyone saw coming, but no one's ready to accept it. The greatest MMA fighter of all time has just laid out his future plans, and it isn't something to be excited about. In a recent interview with Fox Sports, the heavyweight champ said that his plan right now is to have one more big fight against Stipe Miocic at Madison Square Garden, and then just walk away from the sport once and for all. The 35-year-old ended his 3-year hiatus at UFC 285 in March 2023 as he took on Cyril Gane, who was deemed to be the guy who'll defeat the great Jon Jones. Of course, Bones proved why he's the greatest of all time once again. After being 3 years away from the sport, he defeated the heavyweight contender in the first round of the fight. But now, it's all coming to an end. The American fighter said that there isn't much left in him right now. He really doesn't have anything to prove to anyone, and that he's an old guy now. He's been in the game for a long time, so all he wants to do now is spend time with his family, be there for his kids. Jones even said that he's proud of the career he's had and that he's happy with his decision to retire. Speaking of the career he's had, I mean, it sure was a spectacular one. Let's just take a trip down memory lane and talk about his record for once. Like, there isn't much to say about it apart from the fact that he has achieved everything. The guy has been in the promotion since 2008, and he became the light heavyweight champ at the age of just 23. Also, this made him the youngest fighter in UFC's history to become a champion. After that, there was no stopping him. He kept on winning and winning. Jon had 16 title fights in the UFC. Can you guess how many he won out of those? He won 15 of them. He holds the record for most title fight wins in UFC history. But after a stellar career, he vacated the light heavyweight belt in 2020 after he had a dispute with Dana White regarding his pay. The 35-year-old did come back to MMA after 3 years, and y'all know what happened then. Overall, he's the most dominant fighter in MMA history. He has a record of 27 wins and 1 loss. Also, that 1 loss came via disqualification for illegal elbows in a bout against Matt Hamill. But even in that fight, Jones was in complete control. There isn't much left to say about the kind of run he's had in MMA. As far as things are going right now, though, it's all coming to an end. Bones took to Twitter and announced his wish to retire. He talked about how cool it'd be for him to spend his retirement fight dominating the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic. That tweet did get quite a reaction from the fans, and a lot of them showed support for him, claiming that he'll easily beat Miocic. One even said that it'll end up like the Gane fight, which ended in only the first round. Others, well, they weren't really impressed with his decision to retire and asked him to stay for some more time in the sport. But it really looks like the heavyweight champ has made up his mind. All he needs is just one fight against Miocic, and it's all over. Although something interesting did happen in the comments section of that tweet, when one fan asked Jon to not retire because he can't see him retiring right now. The fighter replied that he'll keep fighting. I mean, what was that? Is he retiring or is he not? Well, no one's too sure about it right now. There's only one person who knows the answer to this question, and that's Jon Jones himself. But from what he told Fox Sports, it really looked like he's made up his mind. That said, even though he says that he wants a fight against Miocic, there hasn't been anything official from the UFC so far. Also, while the promotion has held some events at Madison Square Garden in the past right now, there's no indication that there will be one in the near future. So when can we expect to see this fight? As of now, no one's even sure if it'll happen in the first place. Oh yes, there are some serious doubts looming over this fight. Everything indicated toward the International Fight Week for the clash of all-time greats at UFC 290 on July 8, 2023. But the boat was missed for that event. And since then, there haven't been any signs about a new deal for that fight. Daniel Cormier, who's been following the heavyweight division pretty closely, says that it's time to be concerned. For DC, there's still nothing signed for this bout. The UFC missed the chance to make Ngannou versus Jones happen. It looks like they're gonna miss this chance as well. He also says that he has no idea what's going on behind the scenes regarding this fight, but the UFC has to do everything they can to make this fight happen. It's too big of a fight to miss out on. And he's right. No one has any idea about what's stopping this fight from coming together. Either it's the UFC or it's one of the fighters. There surely won't be any delays from Jon's end. I mean, he's the one who's still talking about this fight and how much he wants to make it happen. Let's see if we can finally watch this fight become a reality at the end of this year. Also, DC isn't the only one who's concerned about this fight. UFC veteran Chael Sonnen's also worried that this fight may not happen. He said that he isn't hearing any good things about the Stipe versus Bones bout, also claiming that another opponent was being talked for a fight against the current heavyweight champ, and that's Sergey Pavlovich. According to him, the Miocic fight's going up in flames. He even said that the Pavlovich versus Jones bout may take place in August. What? Chael said that these rumors are really strong. If they weren't that strong, he wouldn't be telling us about it in the first place. I don't know what's gonna happen, but Sonnen has really got me scared too. I mean, we might actually miss out on a fight between the two greats of the sport. Though Bones himself said something else about Pavlovich, he dismissed all the rumors about this fight and said that he has no interest in fighting him. Oops. He described the fight against Pavlovich as a huge challenge, but at the same time, he also said that nobody even knows who he is. Come on, Jones, that's too harsh. I mean, Sergey's a pretty good fighter. He's been climbing up the ranks in the heavyweight division after some impressive performances. Plus, he recently won his 6th consecutive fight after a TKO win against Curtis Blades. But the heavyweight champ did say some good things about Sergey. He said Pavlovich is a very exciting fighter, and the fact that his last 6 wins have been first-round knockouts makes him a very dangerous opponent. He even said that Sergey reminds him of Glover Teixeira. Still, he says that there's no one who actually knows this guy. Hilarious. So one thing is pretty clear. We shouldn't expect Bones versus Sergey. That said, there's one guy for whom Bones can delay his retirement, and that is the former UFC heavyweight champ, Francis Ngannou. Yes, even John knows what we want. We want to see both these fights become a reality. This is the fight that was being talked about for a long time, way before Bones announced his return to the octagon. The 35-year-old said that if there's any chance that Francis will return to the UFC, then it'll be worth entertaining and not retiring. He said that this will be the kind of fight that'll generate a lot of revenue. A lot of people would pay to watch this fight, and this is what makes it worth his while. Also, the two have been pretty open about their desire to fight each other. The Predator said in an interview that he tried to book a fight with John for 3 years. He did everything to get that fight booked, but in the end, it didn't happen for him. Besides, the way Ngannou left the UFC, it wasn't an ideal exit for him. He wasn't on good terms with White, and his return to the promotion again is highly unlikely. So the only real opponent left for him now is Miocic. Let's see what happens with this one. So there you have it. From demanding a fight against Ngannou to stay in the UFC, to hinting at retirement after defeating Stipe at the Madison Square Garden, that's why Bones' retirement fight could be just around the corner.